So this is my first Pulsar drum, and as you can see, it's starting to get quite a bit of rust on it. Zoom in here a little bit. You can see it's getting pretty bad in certain places. Pretty bad spot over there. Bad spot there. And this is the first drum I ordered. It's a based on the A Marmora scale, but it has 3 extra notes added, 4 extra notes added to it. So it's a 13-note drum as opposed to a 9-note Rav. And the second drum I ordered, so this is about a year and a half. And you know, I'm not a liberal oiler of my drums, but I've had this drum about I ordered it probably 3 months after this drum, and I told him not to put any paint on it. I specifically asked for no paint. I just wanted whatever process he uses to prep, and so it has no rust on it at all. It is cared for exactly the same way as the other one. It's just like a bluing. I don't know if he does a gun bluing technique or what, but it is not rusting. This one, rust comes off on my hand if I rub against these spots. Rust is now coming off on my hand, so it's time to take some steel wool and possibly some sandpaper to it, and then I'm gonna gun blue it. There's some gun bluing, cold gun bluing. So I'm gonna try that, and I will make another video later on. Talk to you later. Bye. Okay, so here's the back side of the Pulsar drum after I've sanded it down with 220 sandpaper and then hit it with some steel wool. Steel wool wasn't getting in deep enough where I was getting rid of those. I could get rid of the rust, but I couldn't get rid of the pitted parts that are underneath the rust, and it'll come back as rust if I don't eliminate those pitted spots. Now 220 is a little bit coarser than I would have liked to have had, but that's all I had around here tonight. When I do the front of the drum, the side with the notes, I will probably go get a 400 or something grit and use that on the front. But I figured I'll do the back side first. This isn't going to be seen as much. I'm hoping the coarser sandpaper doesn't cause, you know, rust to be worse. But I'm going to heat up my oven. I'm going to heat up the drum a little bit, and I'm going to try bluing it. So I'll get back to you in a second, or in a minute. Bye. So I'm using my oven to heat up the drum. It heats it up pretty darn quick at 500 degrees with the door open. It won't fit inside, so I'm just leaning it up against the door to get it heated. So I'm trying to run my camera with the left hand without dropping it, but once you have it heated up, once you have the drum heated up, you just put a little of the bluing, the cold bluing, on the rag, and then you just work it in. I had a few accidents, a little accident over here early on. I dribbled, so I'm going to try and buff that out with steel wool. So this is the finished drum. It looks okay. I mean, not a perfect job. Been better if it had been dipped. But here's the gun bluing that I used. It's Van's Instant Gun Blue, and now I'm gonna hit it with some Ewell high quality gun oil, and that stops the oxidation process. This is basically what it's rusting, but it's blue rust as opposed to red rust. So the blue rust will prevent red rust from coming, but you have to stop the process, which is what the bluing is. It's basically you're causing an oxidation on the surface of the steel, and then that will prevent orange rust from coming. Anyway, that's what it looks like for now. Okay, so after oiling, this is what we have right here. Looks pretty good. I mean, it's not a perfectly uniform job, but only time will tell whether it keeps the rust away. Like I said, I'll need to get some finer sandpaper to do the front side, but it looks like it's going to be, you know, way better than what I had before. So have a good one. I'll do a video of the front later. So today I'm going to be sanding down the playing surface of my Marmora Pulsar Drum. And there was spots of rust on it. I did hit it with steel wool, so you can't see the rust too much right now, but you can kind of see some spots here where it's a little bit of pitting from where its rust has started, and then I took steel wool to it to get rid of that rust. But I'm going to go ahead and blue the surface, and I was using 220 for the backside sandpaper, 220 sandpaper, and I was going to go get some finer stuff, but it looks pretty good with the 220, so I'm just going to use the 220. It's a lot quicker using the 220, and I'm just going to go with it, and I'll make another video here in a minute. Here's what the drum looks like after I've hit it with the 220. You can see there's some fine lines in it, but I'm going to hit it with some steel wool, take out some of those. These tongues are really hard to get completed, because I had to like fold the sandpaper over and hit each one of those little fingers that are on the nodes. So that was a little bit of a process, but got it as good as I can. Gonna hit it with the steel wool and we'll move on. So here's the drum after hitting it with the steel wool. And I'm gonna set it out in the sun. I don't have far to go. There's the line for the sun, so set it out in the sun so it'll heat up a little bit. I did blow out the steel wool and metal filings, blew out that from inside the drum. I'm going to heat it up in the sun, and that'll open up the pores of the metal so that it'll accept the bluing better. Also, you want to go in a circular pattern when you're sanding, otherwise you'll end up with patches that are going different directions and stuff. So try to stay in a circular pattern as best as you can. It's a little hard to do on the tongues, but just have to do your best. As you can see, I'm well into the bluing process. I'm just using an old sock with the rubber glove underneath. You don't want to get this stuff on your hands because it's toxic if you ingest it, and not good to get on your skin. So you just work this in a circular pattern and you get a nice gun bluing. You can see kind of here's where I started, right in the center, and I don't know why where you start always is darker than the rest. I've rubbed the rest of it down a lot with liberal amounts of the gun bluing, but the center where I started is always the darkest. I don't know why that always is, but so far so good. Well, so the bluing process is pretty much done. So now I need to neutralize the bluing, which I'll use the Ool, like I did on the back side. I'll use this Ool synthetic gun lubricant to neutralize the bluing process. Otherwise, just like rust, it keeps eating away at the metal if you don't neutralize it. So anyway, so here's the finished backside after the bluing, and here's the finished front side after the bluing. This should offer better protection from rust than the original paint that Maxim put on these. And obviously he changed the paint, so it must have been causing some reports of rust, so that's why I was having rust. I haven't had any problems with my newer painted ones or the ones that he just left pre-painted. Anyway, that's how to repair a rusty tongue drum.